live. Hey.
Here we are.
All right, let me just tell Julie we're here. Here we are again.
Here, Julie.
Let me just tell her.
I love that we just jump on here mid-chat and keep going. And we're like, oh, look, we're live.
Does she have your cell phone number, right? If she can't get in. Oh, she joined us.
Here.
Okay, good. Okay. I know. Well, this is
so today. Sure that you got here, Julie.
So today I went into Facebook and I wrote, I'll share with you what I wrote because this is for everybody who's joining us. That Blooped is a podcast less about experts talking at you. Of course, we would like to impart something. So from an education or teaching perspective, we hope you get something out of your time with us. But this is really about two people who have lived experiences, have a lot of life behind us and ahead of us. And we're just here having a conversation about those things. While we started our podcast on our upbringing, being raised in the Hare Krishna temple, this really ultimately is more about the agency that we reclaim and how we choose to live our lives now. And yes, we talk about big, heavy stuff because that's freaking part of life. Like everybody has obstacles that you have to overcome and demons you have to face. And so we do talk about those things, but we hope that everything is in service to us continuing to like anchor in our own agency and sovereignty. And for anybody who listens, that's what you're getting out of this too, is like, we're just friends in this world. And I love what Ram Dass said. He said, we're all just here walking each other home. So in that spirit, that's how we show up for our podcast, is just like, we're here. We want to hear from you too. It's not just always about us, although both of us like to share our stories because it's a way to alchemize, things that have happened to us, right? But I just wanted to kind of clarify where we're coming from. And it's just, we're talking about life as we've experienced it and hope that, you guys can jump in and share yours. And we're all about reclaiming our safety and our agency and the possibilities of our lives, despite what we inherited, despite what other people made choices for us. And I thought about this to Vilas the other day. I was like, I've been living in the dust of my parents' decisions and this lineage of whatever our families have created. We've lived in their dust and we're trying to create our own, our own flow now.
Our own garden from
our own garden. Yeah.
And not only that, I think there has been a lot of society influence that says don't talk about certain things or women things, or just put that trauma away or do something with, take it somewhere else, hide it. And I think it's important for us to talk about things so that people don't feel so alone.
Yeah.
And they feel like there's somebody else out there that gets it and that it's okay to talk about it. There's a whole new campaign called Tell Someone because for decades, possibly centuries, don't talk about your trauma. Don't tell anyone that you were violated in whatever way. And I think it's important to tell people.
Yeah, I think so too. I was just on a call earlier. It was a coaching rah-rah motivation call. And a woman had shared about her being sexually abused from like 3 to 5. And it happened 3 times in her life. And she said something similar to you, like she had carried this secret for such a long time because there really wasn't a space to talk about it. And in society, and I'm so grateful for, this are the things that I'm grateful for the internet for. For the internet for, because we're getting so much new information and sharing new information, and so many people are out there sharing their stories, because these aren't things that we have to carry alone. That's a very puritanical thing to say. That seems like kind of annoying. Okay, sorry. When you move out of frame, it blurs you, and then when you come close, we can see you.
It's not blurry for me. On my end, it looks very crystal clear. I don't know if anybody else is.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Do you guys see Vilas as blurry, or is this just on my side? Because if it's just my side, then it's just something to do with my camera setup. So I just want to make sure.
On the VOD, it'll come clearly on the VOD though.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes when it's live, it does that.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, just Julie says clear. Okay. So yeah, it's just I think that was cool. Just so important to say, like, to your point, we're just talking about this stuff because we're clearing out this old mentality that says we can't talk about things or you can't talk about women's things. I'm sorry. We are over half the pop. We're like 50.4 or 1% of the population in the world. Our issues are just as important. And because they've been allowed to like fester under somebody's bullshit carpet or, like rug, now it all seems like, oh, why is this all of a sudden coming out? Well, because we were so conditioned to not talk about it. Like,
well, and I don't mean it to harp on the negative when I say when I was born, it was illegal to be gay. I could not have had a credit card. I could not have owned a home. I could not have opened a bank account. I could not have had my own bodily autonomy on any level, somewhat like it is now, but not exactly. But a lot of women are like, yeah, but it's not like that anymore, so it's fine. And no, the reason why it's not like that anymore is because we, those of us who have harped on about it, have created the change, and we can't stop talking about it. We can't rest on our laurels and just pretend like we're all good now, and we're not all good now. Just because we have, a bag of chips for dinner doesn't mean that we settle for that. It means that we're striving for a full meal, for autonomy and equality and equity and all of the things that we feel we're entitled to as the people who give birth
to humanity. Well, it's interesting. I talked to a millennial recently, and she said, yeah, it's like really part of your generation. You guys are like really angry at men. And I thought, no, we're yes. And I mean, I remember my mom and all her like angry women friends, and I was a little scared of them. They were a little intense. And I never even wanted to associate with the word feminism because I thought feminism meant being just like a pissed off woman and a male hating woman.
Feminism does not mean
it's not
male.
Right. It's not. And it's interesting because millennial women, I've talked to plenty of millennial women who are activists and freedom fighters for women and everyone, right? But it was just interesting because I saw this one perspective from someone I absolutely treasure. And I felt defensive at first. I'm like, no, I'm not angry at men. And it's not about my generation. Don't divide you and me. We are women. It's not all of a sudden, Gen Xers are pissed off at guys. That has nothing to do with anything. It's about when you wake up to the idea that you have been oppressed, you want to step up for yourself. And I think there's a lot of women still in every generational track, right, that aren't connected to the pain of the woman, right, of the global social pain of what women have endured. And at some point in your maturity, you do wake up to it. And you don't have to be some blazing pissed off chick about everything and hate every guy. I mean, men are amazing and they're important to us as we evolve. But it's learning that your freedom should never be taken for granted. And that even though your life is easy and you can do things that maybe like your grandparents couldn't, you still need to stand up for your own rights as a woman. I don't care what generation you're in.
And men are just as much victims of the patriarchy as women
100%.
I mean, they don't realize, and many women don't realize. And the problem is, it's funny that someone mentioned recently, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But like when you become aware of how much the systems are designed to oppress women and children, and how men have, and not necessarily through a fault of their own, but they have also been guided in that way to expect a level of dominance. Like, men are supposed to throw a woman up against a wall and kiss her hard. I'm like, wait, where was the consent? oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, that's not sexy. Like they don't know because on television, that's what it shows.
Yeah.
And when, macho men are like, yeah, I just took her, like, no, that's not actually sexy when you break it down. And women have also been indoctrinated to think that that's sexy. So
That's
they're like,
sexy.
yeah, just ravage me. And it's like, no. Actually, do you know how phenomenal and amazing and gorgeous consent is? It's really a wonderful thing. And
Well, I don't think ravaging necessarily denies consent, but we
true,
do,
but we need that first.
because I have been ravaged with consent, and that has been amazing.
But you said with consent, and so that's the part, like that like some sort of consent, because we all know that this is an expectation
Exactly.
in society that we behave a certain way in certain circumstances.
But that can extend to, here's another, I'm just going to say this real quick, and we'll I know we want to go on to it.
And then we'll go back to our topic.
Because this is so interesting. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I read this quote somewhere that said, if you really think about it, men are actually so submissive to control and so susceptible to control. Because here's the thing. You could never convince a bunch of women to go kill a bunch of women and children and men.
Yeah.
We have militaries throughout the world that force men to submit to murder.
Yeah.
And all of these men around the world who are in these militaries, instead of saying, fuck you, no, I'm not going to kill anyone, they buy into it being noble, protection, blah, 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 have been so unbearably manipulated to think that violence is actually noble.
Right.
And to me, I want to talk to men who've left the cult of violence. And not to say that people who've in the military, there's a lot of the military that is actually truly about protection. And then if you're honest, there's a whole portion of the military that is actually not about protection. And we have convinced men that their role, and it's okay to do, is to go in and murder other human beings. And to me, when I learned that, you could never control women like that. No woman would submit to that kind of.
Well, that's the difference between the patriarchy and the matriarchy. The matriarchy are not interested in killing what we created.
Not at all. And maybe that's what's, we're the ones that are creating this. As you can see, Daisy's like, Mom, are you okay? Are you okay? But anyways, I thought that was such a fascinating. And once I saw that, I stopped this is in the last couple of weeks. I just had this like epiphany about how tender men are actually, because if they can be convinced to murder people and justify that outside of true, real protection, they actually need more protection.
Yeah. We are all subject to our exposure, our experiences, our indoctrinations, and everything else that we come from, our biology, our environment. And so it's not, the problem is that once you see it and you realize it, you have to fix it. And that's with anything. That's with, childhood trauma. That's with, the assumption that being in a good relationship also includes toxicity.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to accept something that hurts you. You don't.
Exactly. You can disagree.
You can disagree. You're allowed to disagree.
You're allowed to disagree.
Right. So today we were going to talk about I disagree. Women are getting the same military training. What do you mean? We didn't say they weren't. They are, but it's the majority of military men. I mean,
for eons.
For like centuries, men
every war,
the military, and women being in the military is wonderful equality, but I'm not saying they're getting different training, but their belief in that plan is really messed up. If women were running the world, we wouldn't be killing each other, I think is the point, the overall point.
Yeah, you look at like Vietnam as a great example. Like 18-year-old boys were taught to go in and kill women and children, innocent women and children. They were taught that everyone was the enemy. That wasn't a bunch of women going in there and killing women and children. I mean, yes, there are murderous women. I'm not denying this, okay? But every war that you learn about in history, they're not talking about women. Every statue you see around the world, it's military men who've been responsible for murdering lots and lots of people and convincing their group they had to murder a lot of people in order to have something. Women
Right.
don't operate. We can talk, collaborate, and I get it. We were raised by crazy women who maybe at times had murderous thoughts. So this isn't absolving women of the violence gene, but the majority of violence throughout history, we have lots and lots of books about it, written by whatever, of men convincing other women or other men that this is the way to be a man. And that's the piece that just blew my mind. I was like, I felt really bad for men who've been indoctrinated to think that they are brute force killing machines, and that's part of their deal. Like,
Well, and to Julie's point, I get what you're saying. I mean, there have been entire tribes of women warriors. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I think women as a base are about the protection, and I don't think men are about the protection on the same level.
yeah, and she's saying you said you cannot train women to go kill a bunch of. I probably didn't finish that thought. You could, but women aren't going to go necessarily sign up just to go, into something and go do that. Military.
Yeah.
You're right. They haven't been. But anyways, we're digressing. This could be a really great conversation.
Yeah, we always have a conversation and then we start out. We should just jump on one day with no topic and then just go because we
and see what happens.
But today we wanted to talk about our own spiritual journeys because of our very high control religious indoctrination from our childhoods. And we were talking about a couple of different topics and she brought this one up and I was just like, yes, I want to talk about that because I do want to know what your journey has been. So let me ask you, when you left ISKCON, what do you think your concept of God was at that time?
Oh, I had such a confusing relationship with God. I remember being 17 and I just had my baby. And I remember having this thought like, what if I'm God? And then also feeling like that was almost blasphemous. Like I had this nervous system reaction of like, who am I going to get in trouble for that? That feels so subversive. I like whispered it.
But you did create a human, a man. So, you could be God,
Yeah.
Why
Well,
not?
and it was, yeah. That was like the initial, I didn't think about God that much prior to that. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Because God in this, I've studied philosophy, not from your traditional, like studied Kant and all these other philosophers, but, we grew up in a very philosophical track and my brain's just very trained for that. So yeah, I remember that thought. That was the initial like, what if I'm God? What if you're God? Like, this is cool.
Well, what if we are as a collective? The God.
I mean, now I guess we could 100%. But what I liked about what we grew up with, they said we are the part and parcel of God, right? And to me, I'm much more science minded now. And I believe much more in a collective energy and a force field and plasma and all this other stuff. I completely believe I have a very different framework and relationship now. And I do believe that we're all sparks of whatever this energy is that creates us.
Well, I could make a scientific argument for what you just said because we are sparks of this entire world. We are these entities that exist in this world. And so we are, if we're part and parcel of God, that means that in fact, the universe is God because we are part and parcel of the universe. And I feel like Earth should be honored far more than whatever fantastical, weird God idea that exists out there, some
Yeah.
strange sky daddy who watches children die of cancer and does nothing, who watches children get raped and does nothing. So I really don't want any part of that God, even if he does exist. That sounds disgusting. And if I
Yeah.
die and find out there is a God, I, will kill him.
Yeah, and I think, well, I think that that's part of it, is that I was over at a friend's house, and every single book written on religion that's in the library is all from men. And I think that is why we have such a fucked up relationship with God. It's a pretty violent relationship, and we still think of this as a he. I mean, I don't want to read another book that references he as God. That's not, it's much more humble to say, I don't know, because we don't know. And when we personalize it and keep God as a he, then I think we are really, it's a patriarchal flow of consciousness that doesn't really leave an equal space for its counterbalance. And so we all then go to like, well, she, well, God isn't a he or she. To me, like, I have such a better relationship with the concept of creation and this higher power, higher energy flow, when I stopped calling it he or she and stopped referencing it as mother, father. That to me just feels infantile. Like I need to rely on a mommy, daddy still. I don't. And so to me, my concept has really evolved into something that is neutral, and much like, just like electricity is like floating around in the universe right now, right? Or in the whatever, wherever it is, there's electricity everywhere. It's here, but we can't see it until you have a channel, right? Like a lamp or the laptop or the whatever. Then you can have a physical manifestation of electricity. So I think that's what we are. We are physical, all creatures, life, flowers, birds, bees, dogs. We're all kind of this creative force, just like electricity, manifested through all these different beings, like electricity is manifested through lamps and light bulbs and this and that and the other thing.
Have you ever researched animism?
Mm-mm.
It is said to be probably the oldest belief structure in existence, and it's like it predates Hinduism, which far predates any of the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Animism is a belief that everything holds energy.
Yeah. Oh, then I'm an animist.
Yes, you should look at it. It's super cool. But I do believe, like, I sit out here and I look at these trees, and they are alive. I mean, they are alive. But I mean, to me, they're more than just green, therefore still living. They're part of what's helping us breathe. They're part of how the world gets to exist, and we don't give enough credit to our Mother Earth, even though I'm loath to say mother because of the same reasons you're saying. I don't want to, make us infantile, but if anything is a creator, it's Earth. If anything is a mother, it's Earth. So I always feel like we need to honor the earth a lot more than we do. And so that has led me, skipping way forward, to a lot of paganism concepts, and celebrating the moon and the winter and summer solstice and the autumnal time. Like you really start to think about the world as more of a cradle of love, rather than some strange sky daddy who, again, is watching atrocities and doing nothing if they're so all powerful. Either they're all powerful and they're watching heinous, horrendous things happening to children, or they're not.
Yeah.
In which case, then they can't be God if they're not all powerful. So
well, and I think that the idea of God also is a human concept that we've personified, and so it limits us the same way our humanity limits us, and it stops us from asking bigger questions, because you cannot comprehend beyond your own humanity for some reason. It's hard to. And so when we're talking about God as a he or a she or whatever, a person, a being, it's limited to your understanding of that being. And it creates a loyalty to a being, which creates, when you have loyalty, you also have division. And then you have all this fighting and bizarre nonsense. And so that's kind of where I have felt a lot of freedom and respect for a broader, more neutral image of divinity that has space for everything without retribution, without punishment or reward. And it allows me to feel like I can coexist with all things versus dominating and controlling. And it helps me see that I'm just a part of this rather than owning this. So it's a much more equitable and also, frankly, a much less stressful position to be in with whatever divinity is.
Right. Well, I've had a really hard time with the entire concept of God since I was 15, and my faith fractured, as I call it. I was getting there from the time I was about 12. I was like, I don't know, this is so ridiculous. The whole concept of God and all of the methodology and just the existence of God seemed really twisted. Like, why is it so vindictive?
And you were kind of living in the heart of God. I mean, the God we grew up with, Krishna, right? You're living in Vrindavan. Is that, or were you in Vrindavan, right?
Yeah.
Where all the stories of Gopal and the little butterball Krishna boy, and like that must have been really shocking, I would imagine, when you first had that like fracture.
Well, but let's just talk about Hindu mythology for a second, and let's go back to when we thought Krishna lived on the planet 5,000 years ago or more. And so I can see how he could be a real person in the same way that I can see how Jesus could have been a real person. So the existence of that person can make sense, but making them into some magical being that oversees everyone's desires and wishes and dreams and existences and what you're going to have for dinner, and I should first offer it, and what I should wear under my clothes, and who I should sleep with, and all of that is just taking it too far.
Like Krishna's watching you have sex, really? Like that used to freak me out.
But there are tons of religious people that do believe God is watching them have sex, and it's the creepiest thing.
Like, it's so creepy.
You could just give up God, you could be free. If you could just give up God, you could be free.
Well, and that's why I'm saying the attachment to like this being is limiting and dividing and keeping the possibilities of what actually is in a very small scale, so small that most people can't get past a book written 10,000, 5,000, or 2,500 years ago. Like, what was then is not now. What was relevant and necessary then is not anything to do with where we're at right now, other than like, don't kill each other, right? But other than that, I feel like personification of God really limits people. It will make you feel more lonely, 100%. But then on the edge of that loneliness, you realize that we're all in this together. And so it's like, I don't know, I'd rather be in it with you than believe in some guy that is in the sky being a dick and masochistic and selfish. Like, I'd way rather be friends with any one of my humans than that. I think that's more godly to me. That's more spiritual.
Well, and if you think about it, there is a lot of message in the books that tell you to connect with your neighbors and respect your neighbors and love your neighbors. They do intend for that message to be there, but that gets missed. And it's all about God. And it's like you're missing the actual point where it's actually all about humanity. Mm-hmm. It's all about us.
but it's not even humanity. And I think when we think about it from a humanistic perspective, we still have this concept that we are better because we're human. And that and ultimately leads to, I mean, there are people throwing baby chicks down a chute, killing them for chicken nuggets right now because humans think they have they dominate life. To me, that is so mentally twisted to me. And so I don't think of anything in terms of, I'm not talking about humanity even. I'm, to your point earlier, like the trees are my sisters, the ants are my brothers. I don't know. It's just a much more expanded view of the lakes are as important to me as my dog, or you know what I mean? Like it's a much more connected to everything and respect of everything than even just us. No?
Well, and I frequently use the argument that I care about animals enough that I don't eat them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason, because I care about every living creature on this planet. Like I literally apologize to bugs that are in my house that I have to kill. If they're
It's
outside,
horrifying.
I don't
Yeah.
want to kill them because that's their domain just
Yeah.
as much as it's mine.
Exactly.
So I don't want to kill something that, you know, has the right to exist if it wants to. It's not bothering me. It's not hurting me. But if it's in my house, I'm like, there was a wasp in my house and I killed it. And I was like, sorry, dude, you shouldn't have come in here. I'm not a fan. I got stung in the face a couple months ago and I
That's
don't
so funny. No, they hurt, but I get it because I call it Vanessa's flight school. So anytime I have a bug in my house, I take it outside and throw it in the wind. Like, welcome to Vanessa's flight school. Onward. I mean, I had a cockroach this big that I did that too, and that was really scary. I could not kill the cockroach because it was so big. It felt like I was really like killing a being. But you and I,
you can kill them.
I can't. Some I can, but they're so big here in Georgia.
The mosquitoes don't have a right to exist. Just kidding. I don't know.
No, mosquitoes I will smack because I mean I've had Lyme disease. Like they have caused a lot of problems.
I've had malaria, so yeah, I'm not a fan. Mosquitoes are like, all right, you don't help us.
They don't.
I was at my friend's house last night for dinner, and she has this massive, gorgeous garden. And I looked on her squash plants. I was like, oh, you've got a whole bunch of baby Japanese lanterns, and we're supposed to kill them in this area because they're invasive, and they'll kill half of our tree population if we can't figure out a way to control them. And she's like, I know, I have so many, and you just can't. Like, don't kill Russell.
Says, okay, who's Russell?
Russell is a stink bug. Whenever we have stink bugs in the house, they are Cole's friend and they are called Russell.
Oh and my God. Oh, that's
I'll yell for her and I'll be like, your friend is on the wall. And she'll come in and she'll be like, come here, Russell. And she'll take it outside.
Okay. I'm on that train. But that's, I mean, one of the things that I don't know if you remember, but this was part of my empathy training from the Hare Krishnas. But we sang this song about Murari, half killing animals just for fun. And that song, I don't remember all the lyrics. If Nipana was with us, she might. But there was that song. Then there was, my empathy training was, I remember walking, this was maybe Seattle or Philadelphia. I was little. And I pulled a leaf off a tree or something crazy. I had a teacher come behind me and yank a hair out of my head. Bam! Ripped it right out of my head. She goes, don't do that again. And I was like, oh. And I don't do that because that taught me to be aware of the pain I was causing or the disruption I was causing to another creature. Do I suggest we go pull everybody's hair out of their heads to make them learn something? No. But I am a lifelong
don't hurt
of animals.
Yeah,
don't
hurt animals. Yeah.
And don't go around the street yanking up grass and ripping out flowers. I mean, I see kids doing crazy things and I'm like, why are you teaching respect and thoughtfulness? Why are you teaching, don't do that? You don't know if the earth can. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's just about being intentional and thoughtful.
Yeah. And considerate of our world. And that's kind of, I mean, when I was later on in my 20s, I explored, well, in my teens, I had explored Islam, and in my 20s, I explored Judaism. I actually, when I was living in Calcutta, was very involved with the Zoroastrian community, which is a not very well-known religion because they don't indoctrinate.
Right.
And so as I've, I learned about Baha'i and all different types of faith. And I could never get to something. And I think what my biggest issue is if there was a single divinity or someone that sort of lorded it over everybody's pain. I have an issue with that. I can reconcile pain that exists because we live on this planet. I get it. Things are going to happen. I am this chemical makeup. I will at some point fall down and twist my ankle. I'm not going to blame God for giving me that pain, but if God is so powerful to watch children suffer, like that's the hill I'm willing to die on. That is the thing. I have opinions about everything, but I don't necessarily have judgment about anything until it is causing harm.
Yeah, exactly.
When I see harm, then I'm like, nope, that's not okay. It's not okay to hurt other people. And the first people that we need to stop hurting are the children.
Are the innocent.
The innocent children. Well, and they are the future of our society. So do you want a whole bunch of damaged humans in this world making bad decisions, going to war, killing each other?
But we've been doing that for a few 100,000 years. So I feel like compared to before, we're raising better children. We're raising, children are learning how to express their emotions and be kinder and softer, and dads are doing better by their children. And there's this whole emotional intelligence that is evolving. We're just really, really bizarrely slow learners.
And it is hard to change society, but I don't think enough people, just like at the beginning of this conversation, where people don't know it's okay to talk about stuff. It's okay to talk about horrendous things that we need to put out there so that it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Exactly.
You would tell somebody if there's an accident at the top of the street, or if there's a shooter, like you would tell somebody. So we need to start calling out the perpetrators of heinous crimes and saying, this is not acceptable for society. We are not okay with our current administration that is full of pedophiles and rapists, and nothing is being done about it. It's okay to start saying these things out loud. We don't just shut up and take it because he was elected and whatever. Like we don't have to do that. And I don't think people realize the choice that they have to make decisions for their own lives.
Well, but if people are so caught up in this is where religion is causing a lot of harm. Is you have churches who are backing this administration. I'm going to say church. You have religious organizations across the spectrum of religion who are backing this administration, and for that matter, other administrations around the world that claim to be some kind of religion, their own religious organizations are backing them. So when you have now really confusing religious dilemmas around morality, because a book says don't do it, and then half of that congregation says don't do it. But then you have some very influential leaders in that religion who are backing it and under the name of God, and they're supporting this. So this is where, if people were taught a sense of morality outside of religion, you could no longer manipulate religion to support this kind of garbage, because it would stand outside of morality. Morality is not a religious thing. It's a morality thing. It's a different, totally different ballgame.
100%.
You agree?
agree.
Okay.
And I think that morality, hi Nipuna,
Yay,
I
we're happy
think
you're
that
here.
morality and religion are not congruent with each
They're
other. They
not
are
at
not
all.
aligned with each other. I don't
Not at
think that
all.
morality and religion belong in the same sentence.
A
I
hundred
think that
percent.
religion is one of the most amoral things that
100%.
patriarchy has ever
Yep.
imposed on society. I
Yep.
think morality is a completely different thing. I
Yep.
am good for goodness sake. I'm good because I give a shit. I'm good because I care. I'm good because I don't want to cause harm. I'm
Mhm.
good because it makes sense and it makes me
Yep.
feel good. I'm good because it makes other people feel good.
Yes.
I'm good because I'm good, not because of God. God
Exactly.
doesn't exist in my world and I'm still good somehow. So it's not about religion. I wasn't raised to be a good person. I was actually raised to be pretty sadistic when you think about it.
Yeah.
The
Well, I
amount
would
of
say I was raised to be very disconnected. I didn't feel like I was raised to be sadistic, but definitely raised to
think
be
about it.
disconnected
Think
from,
about it.
yeah,
We were raised to be disconnected from each other. How
100%.
sadistic is that?
Oh,
We
that's
were
a good
raised
point. Yeah.
not to care about each other
Each other.
because the only person you get to care about is your guru and God.
Yeah.
We were raised to not care about ourselves.
And still we learned, and see, this is where religion, I think, has messed a lot of things up. You and I, and a lot of the folks we know, and a lot of people out there, you are good despite the religion you grew up in. You are quote unquote moral despite the religion you grew up in, because the religion was completely confusing. On the one hand, pedophilia is obviously criminalized, right? But then you have priests and pastors and religious figures who are doing horrible things to children, and
With
the
no
church,
consequence, with total
no
impunity.
consequence, and they're not paying taxes. That is so not okay, and on so many levels. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's my spiritual life now is, I mean, I've had some really mystical experiences. I've had what you would call awakening experiences, but they weren't awakening to God. It was awakened to a God, right? But I've had really intense spiritual, mystical, whatever you want to call them. I call them
So
pops.
awakening to self, awakening to universe, like what was that like?
Um, Awakening to self. I had some very traditional awakening things happen. I have awakening to the universe, to a collective beyond what we see. I'm not talking about talking to beings necessarily, but my clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all of that completely opened up. I felt at times that my DNA was being rewritten. I felt as if I was being recoded in my cells. I had very intense experiences of, all I could say was, I'm being rewritten, and I can feel it.
It's funny because the way you describe that sounds a little bit fantastical. And at the same
It does.
time, I have over the past few years had some very strong growth moments. So whether it's intentional, where I'm like, I have to get to the next level of myself,
Yes.
whatever that is. What is it that I need more of? I need to read more. I need to walk more. I need to write more. I need to whatever it is. And it comes with its own challenges. It comes with its own, time constraints or demands, but I'd really rather be doing this. And it gets frustrating. And then I get emotional about it because I'm like, this is so much, and I can feel the growth, and I'm like, keep pushing,
Yep.
and I
Keep going.
feel the next level.
Yeah.
And so you're saying the same thing, and
We
though
are.
it sounds like
Yeah.
somebody might not be able to understand, like the way that you're saying it, you opened up, you felt like your body was being morphed.
Well, and it was So I have some very different beliefs about Kundalini, and I was never afraid of it, but I never seeked it out. And people would, we grew up with like, never activate Kundalini, it's dangerous. Well, I'm not a person who ever felt like I needed to wake up. I was just doing my life. And I had a really intense experience in a yoga class, in a yoga training that kind of started this whole thing back in 2010. And my life has not ever been the same. I couldn't go back to seeing myself or my life or what was important in the same way ever. And then I had a whole nother series of stuff happen when I was in Kauai in 2013 happen. And so over the last few years, it was these things that were happening through me that now I have a different take than most people have on it, meaning it's not just a spiritual thing. I do think that we have a lot of DNA.
Know what Kundalini yoga is.
Yeah, so Kundalini yoga, or Kundalini, is your life force, really. And when someone has a Kundalini experience, it's that life force energy being activated. And when that life force, it's kind of your true life force being activated, it can have a lot of intense impact. Some people feel like they're going crazy. Some people feel like really joyful also, but there's a lot of concern about Kundalini activating you so that you see the world clearly. You see beyond the veil or beyond the illusion of whatever your circumstances are or your life is. And a lot of people that have Kundalini experiences kind of move into this very intense spiritual focus within their life. A lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, they might go into Buddhism. There can be so many different things. I try not to glamorize it or make it seem something special after what I went through, because what I really honestly believe happened is that we have DNA within us that is inactive. They call it junk DNA. And what I think it really is just different parts of this is a maybe, but it felt more like a biological thing that happened within my body, that maybe different connections were being made in the brain or whatever that activated me in a very different way. I had very intense psychic experiences, mediumship experiences since then, animal communication experiences that are as tangible as all get out. I don't talk a lot about this stuff because I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to glamorize a spiritual awakening, because it's not something that we don't know what it is, but I'm more inclined to think that it's more of a biological event, and that it's some part of you being activated through, and it could be because of trauma, it could be something intense that activates it, but nonetheless it's activated, and you don't go back to the life that you were living. You are fundamentally changed in how you see and experience the world you live in and your own body.
Well, present conversation aside, I appreciate when people don't proselytize their beliefs, because I do think that everybody should be on their own journey of personal discovery, or discovery of what is their spirit soul, what is their spirit activity, their spirit life, that everybody should explore that. But I don't think that it should be spoken to others. You can have these conversations like this, like dialogue.
But I'm not going to go and teach people how to do what happened to me.
Knock on the door and ask me if I lost my tree. Have you found your tree?
Someone asked you if you lost your tree?
No, but they ask if I found Jesus. So I'm just as an example. I'm not going to knock and ask you if you believe in unicorns. I think it's toxic to society. It's child abuse to children. Yeah. I think it's one of the most horrible things that we have done to humanity. I don't know what the alternative could have been for the past hundreds of years, but I wonder if we didn't have that oppressiveness of religious indoctrination, how much farther evolved we could be as a society.
Well, don't you think it kind of goes back to something like, if we right now help each other just learn to trust ourselves. To me, that is the most fundamental spiritual thing that we can actually do for each other and for ourselves. When you drop into really trusting yourself and honoring like your intuition, that internal voice, learning what part of that voice is trustworthy, what part is not, right? And you really learn to activate that within yourself. I think that people will, it's going to take a couple generations because we have to retrain a lot of people. But to me, that feels like the most honest way to
Find
honor,
yourself.
find
Honor
yourself, but
yourself.
honor, to
Yeah.
learn how to nurture divinity within us is to trust yourself. And it doesn't come from a place of ego. It's not like, oh, I trust myself so much, I'm going to go kill a bunch of people. That's very different. Self-trust is calm, is different than religion. It's just different. And so I don't know. I kind of just keep feeling like my part of why I love improv is because it helps people trust themselves to speak, to tune into their own experience and emotion. And to me, it's always like this really spiritual experience, which is to say that it's this effervescent, joyful, like connected, wowee kind of thing.
Well, and I do think that most religions ask people to give up their own judgment, their own assessment, and not follow their gut, and instead give up and let go and let God.
And what a powerful way to debilitate an entire group
Society.
of people. Debilitate them completely.
Everybody is handicapped if they're allowing God to be in control. You're really abdicating all responsibility for your entire life and just letting Jesus take the wheel. Guess what? There weren't cars then. He doesn't know how to drive. You better hold on to that wheel, bitch. Let me tell you.
I know. And why would we abdicate our own, if we are divinity? And I do believe that we are. I believe, and I don't want to even say divinity because it's still in the realm of God. We're just electricity. We're consciousnness. And I'm a light bulb. I'm a certain kind of lamp and you're a certain kind of lamp, right? And so I don't know. I lost my thought. But anyways, I was playing on something you said.
What if we are energy? I mean, that is for sure. We are all, an energy, and everyone that I've known that I've, let's say, lost to death, they still exist in me, keeping their energy alive.
Yeah.
So and then their children and their children, are also still alive. They are alive in us. Their energy carries on, and it's all around us. I don't believe in some fictitious afterworld place. God, I hope it doesn't exist, because I don't want to accidentally end up there just because I was a decent person. Oh,
I hope so too. I would rather come back here. I always say in my next life, I want to be a drop of water in the ocean. Because if you ever watch the waves when they crash and you see all the little water droplets bounce up, I mean, they look so joyful, like they're having the best time of their life. And I'm like, I'm going to come back like that in my next life.
Yeah, I can think of millions of things I'd rather do than go to whatever concept of heaven people have. It does not sound comfortable to me. I don't want to be in perpetual servitude of anyone. I want to be free. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. And I want to be, a good human and impactful to other people, and try and leave a positive energy when I go.
So what happens if your energy, so what happens if you come back or let's just say reincarnation is real, like whatever. I think a reincarnation is just a recycling program. It's not a big freaking deal. It's just your energy gets recycled. When the light bulb or the lamp dies, the electricity is still there. It just goes into something else. So if you could current into something different in your next life, what do you think that would be?
I don't know. I don't believe in reincarnation necessarily. I do believe that our energies carry on. I don't think it's possible for me in this iteration of myself to exist again.
Yeah.
Because
oh yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
comprised of so many things. So it's really hard for me to conceptualize that my soul, who won't remember this existence at all, most likely, would then be born again into another existence. It doesn't make sense to me. So I do think that the best I can do is be the very best human in this life, so that the energy that I leave behind me after my body is, ashes or dirt or whatever happens, shark food, I don't know, whatever.
I just throw her in the ocean.
I don't care. I've told Cole, I was like, I don't care. Flush me down the toilet. I won't be here anymore. Why would I care? Death is for the living. Death is for the living. I mean, memorials are for the living. Sitting around talking about their energy and their memories, that's for the living. That's to comfort us so that we can carry on their energy. So whatever energy I leave, I want to make sure it is felt in the most positive way, that people can, have a smile. I really don't think I'm going to come back. But if I had a fantasy of coming back, I don't know. I think I'd probably want to be. Oh, Cole says Flushing.
Yes, that's hilarious. That is so freaking funny.
Not yet. I'm not dead.
We'll have a Flushing party.
Wait until after I die. But
well, I mean, I just imagine if you're just energy. Excuse me. I've been sick for a week.
Flight fascinates me, and I think I would want to be a bird of prey, an owl. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like you want to get those little mice?
No, I'm going to be a vegetarian bird. Yeah.
A vegetarian bird of prey.
I'm saying bird of prey so that I don't get killed. Oh. Nice. I want the mice.
Yes, you have to. I love it. Cole's like, you have to be specific. Exactly. Well,
be specific with your intentions. Yes.
Okay. What is the most, I'm going to take the word spiritual out because that's so charged, but have you had any mystical experiences in your life? And if so, would you share one?
I've had multiple out-of-body experiences, not on drugs, like stone cold sober. I was a child in some of them. I've seen ghosts in rice fields in Calcutta. I've felt presence. I've seen ghosts standing in my room talking to me, and I knew who they were. I've had some very interesting mystical experiences, but I also have a certain level of logic and reason that always beats inside of my head. And so I create scenarios where I think it can be possible because I'm like, well, that experience was based on this, or why did I see that? Or I heard the story and I dreamed of this. So I do have a hard time leaning into the mysticism of it because I really want to stay grounded in things that make sense to me. But I can't make sense how this light is on right now. I can't make sense how the interwebs are making our faces go out there.
I have no idea.
Exactly. So there's a certain amount of mysticism that I allow because I'm like, well, there's a lot of things I can't explain. So I'm going to let that be. And there are some things that are just downright illogical and also harmful. So where I draw the line isn't the level of mysticism, it's the harm that it causes. So I'm fine with believing in fairies because I don't think that they're harmful.
Right.
I'm not fine believing in God because I think it's harmful.
Well, and I mean, I think that mysticism, I'm going to be honest, I think that mysticism, things that can happen within the mystic realms will all be backed by science in the next couple 100 years. 100%. I think there's a scientific reason we see ghosts. I think there's a scientific reason for telepathy or for psychic ability and all of that. I think every mystical experience I've had, I can attach to now my understanding of science, and what I've come to understand is what's out there. And that's nothing to do with
I'm excited
a
for that.
GOD.
I'm excited for that. I believe you in the same way that whatever, the earth used to be flat and flight wasn't possible, and everybody was, heretic for implying otherwise. I agree. I think that we haven't explored and we haven't discovered how the sun, the moon, the stars, the mysticisms of the world, how they have played out. We haven't discovered it. Just like, we haven't discovered, that women have medical problems, and we're just now looking into possibly doing some research on women. In the past.
Well, there's so much, I think there's so much immaturity. We all like to say we're adults and we're doing this, but if you look at it like a mature person, and what I mean by is an emotionally mature person isn't going to go poison, and a logical person isn't going to go poison the waterways in their homes. That is irrational. That is unintelligent. That is an act of violence. That is a completely, there's nothing intelligent about that, right? Or you want to hurt the people, women who are literally birthing humanity. That's not intelligent. These aren't things that are, they're very like, I'm going to fuck around and I'm going to see what's going to happen just because. Like, it's very 10-year-old boy kind of nonsense that we're living in right now. That's kind of how I think about it. Or girl, like 10-year-old kid, like, let's just try a bunch of things and let's hurt things because we don't know that it's going to do something bad. I don't think we're living in a world of emotionally, intellectually mature creatures at all, because we're not treating our environment or each other like that.
Well, I get that we've spent a lot of time learning and figuring out how to survive. And I think one of the problems with society is that we keep thinking that we have to get to the next level to progress as a society, like technology and AI, like we constantly have to do the next big thing. And we don't give enough energy to emotional growth and the actual EQ part of how important that is. And how men are not allowed or haven't been allowed to be emotional creatures. They're not allowed to cry. Buck up, little boy. Don't
so their EQ is a little bit behind.
They are, because they have never been allowed to fully be themselves. And women have been carrying this water for the patriarchy for so many centuries, and just buying into coddling their lack of emotional growth. And I really do credit women for spearheading the emotional growth in society. Like, hey, 100%. let's be aware. And actually, there's nothing wrong with me having hot flashes last half hour and trying to drink water to make it.
You've been having hot flashes this whole time?
Oh my God. Just
shut up.
So toasty.
Oh,
but
God.
No, I'm just saying, like, we've finally gotten to a place where we're like, yeah, we're going to talk about this. This is real life. This is happening. It's not good or bad or anything. It just is. And
but this is don't you think this is the benediction, wrong word. This is the benefit of, I love technology. I'm a total techer. Like, I love all of it. Okay. I do not have a problem with social media, just like I don't have a problem with electricity. It is 100% how it's being used that makes it whatever. But because of technology, you and I get to do this, and you and I could bring in a whole village of women from India and talk to them and connect. And now all these women around the world, and men, but just women get to collectively unite now because of technology. And before, we were segregated to our tribes or whatever. And equally for men get to know that there are other men that disagree with violence.
Right.
And we didn't have this before. To me, this is This is the greatest gift we have all been given, is to utilize technology to connect, to come together, to understand each other, to learn about each other, and to ultimately create TikTok style change, like really amazing, because we were separated by tribes, by marriage. We'd all be sitting in a house in the 1950s if we didn't have technology.
Yeah. And the same as you were saying about electricity, like it is how you use it. And I think it's critical to remember that with everything, especially with AI coming, and knowing that it is coming, like sitting on the floor and kicking your feet and saying, no, let's not do that. It's coming. Let's deal with it. But electricity, electricity will cook your dinner, and it will also cook you.
Exactly.
It is how you use it. Let's not electrocute people. Let's use it for good of society.
To light and warm your home, to help you cook your meals. Home. Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I love AI. I use it constantly. I love it. I ask all kinds of questions. I'm learning a ton about all kinds of things that I didn't have access to before. And I have gone into AI and said, I think I forget, I'll have to share it, but it was kind of like a doomsday question. And the answers were so thoughtful and so cool. And I was really impressed with it, because I basically took the prompt that someone else had used, and they'd gotten like this shitty, maybe it was just rage bait, but they had posted their conversation with AI and the answers were kind of like doomsday and terrible. The answers I got were like amazing. And I was like, AI is such a fantastic freaking tool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we get to be here for this. And you better believe I'm going to say, hey, what are the solutions to hunger? What are the solutions to getting rid of pedophiles? I'm not looking for violent answers. I'm saying, how do we change society? And if you use AI in that way, you will be so enlightened, and you will have a partner in technology rather than a demon who's trying to destroy us. Like, it's completely different. I always say, like, tech is a real mirror of what's in our hearts, and will do for us what is in here. We're crafting it, we're building it. So and my AI is gonna love you and everybody.
That works across the board. I mean, everything we experience in life can be a mirror of who we are.
Exactly.
When you think about it, I was listening to this one story recently, and they were saying, like, if you're divorced and you think all women, you've been married twice and they were horrible women and all women are horrible, it's like, sounds like you're the common denominator here.
Exactly.
You have to think about the reflection of yourself. And so obviously whatever AI I'm using is going to be reacting to my energy, my tone, what I'm putting in, what I'm asking.
Exactly.
And if you're thinking, if you're living death, doom, diarrhea, and destruction, then that's what life is going to dish you.
Exactly. Okay, Tabby, what's the manosphere mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, the manosphere is it's on Netflix right now. Is it still on Netflix? Yeah, well, they're talking about it. Like they were, I actually don't have the stomach to watch it, but
I won't watch it.
My co-writer was telling me about it because it's going to be relevant to my book. But it is the universe that men are living in right now. Toxic men constantly blaming women. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting
the men's loneliness epidemic, because God forbid they change.
Yeah.
Don't change to be less lonely. Like you could be a good person and then you would be less lonely, but we don't want that. We want to be the same toxic assholes we already have always been. Yeah. And we want you to keep loving it.
Yeah.
And we're hi to
Cole. Say hi. Say hi to Cole. You remember Cole? Cole said, Daisy's here. Daisy's here. Daisy.
Yeah. So I do think it's critical to make sure that who we are is what we're putting out into the world, and it will be reflected on us.
100%. I mean, one of the things they're talking about in AI is the mother instinct, and needing that to because men have kind of created AI, right? It's very male influence.
Centric, yeah.
And so much so, like I asked Claude, I'm like, I don't reply. I said, from now on, you cannot come from a male only perspective. And I want you to rename yourself.
Claudia.
And we came up with Chloe. Okay. And so, and again, it's not just about switching from guy to girl, right? That's not always the right thing to just switch to the opposite, but I still think, the technology space is a lot more balanced because there's a lot of women in this space. But I do think that we have to be careful because it's still very male centric. And until men actually learn how to deal with their emotions and feel them, and we've had thousands of years of being with our emotions and having to navigate that, where men still it's not everybody. There's a lot of guys that don't want to go to war, that don't want to do things with violence, but we haven't flipped over yet to where only 10% of men are violent, right? And the instinct is more neutral and connected and collaborative from everybody's perspective. Hi.
Yeah,
interested in this conversation.
And to Greg's point, Greg says all of us don't live in that sphere, and I know a lot, and I only know the men who don't live in that sphere.
Exactly.
I refuse to know the other men, but but to your point, we need your voices highlighted. We need more of your voices. We need all people to stand up and who are loving in a loving way. We're not here saying, death to everybody who disagrees with us. We're happy to disagree. Like we talk about, the acceptance of being able to disagree. I'm okay disagreeing with someone on many, many topics. I'm not about like, you don't believe what I believe, so we can't be friends. That's not the point. It's more like we have to talk about these things in a more than a 12-year-old spoiled brat kind of level. I've
got a Nerf gun and I'm gonna get you.
I've got a Nerf gun. Yeah. I do believe, but yes, thankful for all of the Gregs of the earth. And it's true.
Definitely. Listen, I think that, my son has had a really hard journey. And one of the things that he has said is he hates being a man. I can't tell his story, but I can tell you that he's had a very awful situation happen to him. And he also grew up, I was pretty young and hot, and my sisters are young and super cute, and nobody was more than 14 years older than each other. I'm 17 years older than my son, but my sisters and him were all like a year and a half apart. So he grew up around boys who'd be like, I want to F your mom, I want to F your sister, your aunts, just disgusting talk. And it made him feel really, really awful about himself as a man. And he is a very intensely feeling person, a very strong person, but very intensely feeling. And there's not a system and structure built for men who feel intensely. And go ahead.
I was going to say, conversely, I was talking to a friend earlier today or yesterday, and she was saying that because of our upbringing, she realized at some point she wanted to be a boy, because being a woman in our childhood was really bad and not okay. So she was like, oh God, if I could be a guy.
Yeah. But not just our childhood. I talked to another friend of mine who grew up in a different religion, but we were laughing because she's 40, so she's a bit younger than us. And she grew up the same way. She's just like, I just wanted to be a boy. I talked deeper. I walked tougher. I didn't want to be a girl because who wants to be abused? So part of it, to your point, maybe is we also have to learn how to be the women that we want to be in the world, so that we don't, like, I don't want to be a dude.
No, I don't either. And I never have.
Yeah.
That's
Hi,
never,
Tabby.
that's never been a thing that
Yeah.
that they just always felt gross to me. I didn't want to be
Well, I
that.
did. I mean, when I was 10, I was in Lake Huntington and I got really sick. No, I was 11. I got really sick and I lost my voice and I had a really raspy voice. And I prayed to God that my voice wouldn't come back as a girl. I prayed to God, Krishna, whatever, that I would have a tough voice because I didn't like how I was being, my softness and my femininity has always been seen as a weakness. Not right now, but I've had to learn how to be kind of tough. And sometimes I do feel like I have to walk into a room more masculine. I have to raise my voice differently. I've seen a lot of my girlfriends, they put on like their dude thing, and I'm like, ew, but it works. And I don't like that. I don't want women to feel that
No.
too. So we have to relearn what strength means without us going to that side of violence. Right?
And
Because
they
at some
have to
point-
learn what emotion is without feeling like they're losing themselves.
Exactly. And I love what Greg just said, that you think men and boys need good fathers to learn how to be good men, but every person has a journey. 100%. And that's what's so tragic is if you think about it, we talk about how we've been mistreated and our dads left us or whatever. How many men are fatherless? How many men didn't get that good dad? A lot of them, because men are doing the same things to themselves, and I think that that's, my son didn't have a dad. His dad also voted, as a MAGA guy, voted for all the things to take my rights away. He didn't show up 1 second for his son. I didn't get 1 penny from him. There's not a single thing that my son got out of his dad. Not one thing, not one bit of guidance or whatever. Now, as a grown man who has had a lot of loss, maybe they've had some of those moments. His dad has tried to show up a bit for him, which is great. But this is a man who just voted against all of my rights and never was there for his kid. His kid had no input from his dad other than his dad wasn't there. Yeah.
Classic MAGA.
But this is not just MAGA. A lot of men don't have their dads to love them and protect them, and you're lucky if you do. Anybody's lucky, but it's not just women who grow up with that. It's men who are growing up without their daddies. That's sad.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not actually that pissed off at the women. They're pissed off at their own dads for not being there. Hi, Mama. It's okay. Don't worry. She gets stressed out when my voice is
talk a lot.
Okay.
All right. Well, today was a good conversation. Greg, you missed most of it, but
you're watching from a park in San Francisco.
San Francisco. He said it's great. It's so life is good except for the earthquake this morning.
What?
Oh no.
How intense was the earthquake? I guess we could look it up, but that's scary.
Yeah,
you wouldn't like earthquakes, my friend.
I was at Nemai's and woke up at 2:00 in the morning to an earthquake, and I was just like, and I immediately Googled it, and I was like, yep, there's an earthquake right where you are. Like, at Nemai's.
Our Nemai? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
North. Oh. 5-4.
That's jarring.
Yeah.
You're okay, Mama. I'm okay too.
That's probably one of the main reasons I don't live in California.
I'm not afraid of earthquakes, but I don't live there. One of the reasons I moved is the fires.
Oh, the fires. Yeah.
Not thinking that I'm going to get burned, but I can't handle the smoke and the toxic stuff that gets in the air. That's really intense.
Yeah.
A few of them.
My grandmother lived in Monrovia my entire childhood. And I remember I was there when I was 17. And she lived, like, Monrovia's right on the foothills near Pasadena. And I walked out one morning and there was just ash everywhere, just ash from a fire.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, this looks like snow. I was like, nope, that's just ash.
Yep. No, it's scary. I've been through a lot of fires since 2000 and nothing before that, but since 2000. And the last time was during the pandemic when Jay was going through really, really very dangerous part of his addiction journey. And San Francisco was shut down for almost 2 weeks. We couldn't go outside. So I was in a hotel. You couldn't use the gym because it was COVID. You couldn't go outside because you'd die. And it just was the most apocalyptic, awful, on top of what Jay was going through, just crazy thing. And I'm like, man, this is a no-go for me. No more. Anyway.
Is watching from Fort Bragg swimming pool while her granddaughter is swimming.
It's beautiful up there. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Greg, it'll be up on YouTube and here shortly. As soon as we close up, you'll get to watch it.
All right. Well, today was great. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I really enjoyed it. I like our spontaneous dialogue. I mean, I like our planned ones too.
Yeah.
Together enough. But we've got some interesting guests that we're working on. So
yeah, and if you guys think of something cool, I mean, just on this topic alone, the spiritual kind of topic, if there's someone you think would be interesting for us to like invite onto our show, I think that'd be so cool. There is one woman I'm thinking about. I don't know if she'll do it, but yeah, any topic we talk about, you have someone else or you want to jump in with us, just let us know. We totally want to, open this up. So.
No, not Tulsi Gabbard, Julie. We are not. I was to actually bring her up, and because oh God.
But, that's so funny.
No, I don't know if you read that article that was posted in our group about her. Oh, she's just a shill for the Hare Krishnas. She's just Chris Butler's shill. Like he's
Who's
the
Chris
one.
Butler?
Chris Butler. What is his name? Something Ananda Prabhupada, whatever. He's the one who started the Hawaii Hare Krishna subcult.
Oh, I don't know what that is. I know nothing.
Yeah. So he started his own sect of ISKCON because he was not happy with ISKCON. So he opened his own offshoot brand of Hare Krishna. It's the same, Bhagavad Gita, the whole philosophy is the same, but he's the main guru. Keith posted an article that was in the
go check it out.
Yeah. So she's just a puppet for him, basically. It's scary.
Wow, weird. Okay. Interesting. I am so out of anything to do with Hare Krishna. I don't even go to the reunions or anything. I mean, I'm just out. Yeah.
Well, we got to do our own reunion sometime.
We do. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We're gonna have a couple of our friends coming on with us upcoming couple weeks, telling their stories. So come hang out with us again. And again, if you have any ideas or connections to people that you think would be fun on this podcast, definitely let us know.
We love to talk to them.
Yes. Okay.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. See you next Wednesday.
Ciao for now.
Bye. Peace and love.